Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. Want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. In this episode, we get to speak with Zhenya. He is the co-founder of House of Creators along with Vlada. With their YouTube channel and podcast, their goal is to help creators build a fulfilling life by teaching them how to build an online business around their passion and have an unshakable mindset while doing so. Their vision is that House of Creators will be a warm place of trust and help for all creators, a place where they can hang out, collaborate, and build their dream lives together. Let's find out how he gets into helping people for their online businesses with their right passion and mindset. So Zhenya, thank you so much for coming on to the episode.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. So how are you doing today? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Doing good today, a bit tired, a lot of work to do, but doing very, very good. A lot of something about myself. Yeah, maybe about our project, our company, House of Creators, which we are working together with my wife on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is basically the main project that we are working on right now, besides some client work that we have.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I'm glad that you're keeping busy, keep hustling and keep getting the work done. Because in these times, you just got to keep active. Otherwise, you're gonna go crazy because we can't really go outside, go mingle with other people. We just got to stay home and stay safe. Even though there's been phases of launches, and if you're just tuning in, we're talking about COVID-19 and how we're all staying home. And so I met Zhenya through our mutual love interest of Pat Flynn of Smart Passive Income. He launched like crazy on YouTube, doing live streams every single day for over 100 days. And by the time you listen to this episode, he's probably going to be 150 or 120.
111th episode today.
Yeah, so 111 episode. That is just an amazing milestone. And he's providing so much value. Like today's video is all about people don't buy from you, or why people don't buy products is they're not interested in the product. They're interested in who you are as a person. And I was interested in who Zhenya was as a person. So I was like, Zhenya, let's talk. You created this Slack group. You're bringing all of these community together, and so people can talk about what they love, podcasting, affiliate marketing, marketing in itself. There's so many things, so many topics entrepreneurs talk about. So it's really awesome that there's like 150 some odd people in the Slack group, and it's pretty amazing.
Yes, it's amazing
to see the support in there. So tell us, what inspired you to enter this market, enter this space and realm? Like what's your journey? Tell us a little bit about how you got started.
It's actually a quite mixed up journey because I grew up in Germany. So I was born in Ukraine, but we moved when I was 6 to Germany. So I grew up in school. I was in school and university in Germany. And the country, Germany, as it is very conservative, and they're very into 9-to-5s and working for a boss and stuff like that. But I grew up with a freelancer dad, and I saw always this kind of business side of things and entrepreneurship side, and I was always interested in having my own business rather than working for somebody. And it's quite funny because I always had somehow issues with working for somebody, or like with teachers or so, because I always had my own opinion on things, and that had a lot that a lot of problems because of that in school and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
then I was in a university, and I thought always like, I don't know what to study, and I studied what I like, but I didn't know what to work. So this is basically how I actually got to Pat Flynn and to marketing and to this whole entrepreneurship journey. Because at one point I was like, okay, now I'm moving towards a 9 to 5, and I'm already in the university, but I still don't know what to work. And I wanted to figure it out. I thought a lot about how to build an own business, how to not work for somebody. I also thought about like somehow I had this idea of passive income and stuff like that. And I heard about blogging, that you could somehow potentially earn with blogging, but I was of course more influenced by Germany, even though I was hanging around US communities and stuff like that. But I had the idea of just going to the internet and like Google, good old friend Google, and looking for like online work and stuff like that. And I heard about blogging and combined this with working from home and online business, and just really typed in how to make money blogging. And Pat was the first person I saw. So this is where kind of everything began, because I really learned everything concerning blogging and entrepreneurship, affiliate marketing, and stuff like that. How to make money online, basically. What I could find on Pat's site. So I read everything on my way to university and back, because I had a 1.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
And I was reading everything about that, and like, because it was also so interesting. I didn't expect that it was so interesting, and it was in the end easier than I thought it would be. So Pat laid down everything so good and so like step by step that you could actually really follow his path and do it on your own.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because Pat talks, he's an amazing gentleman, very down to earth, and our listeners are probably aware of Pat Flynn. I've talked about him a lot over the years, and I wish I met Pat Flynn, but I get to attend his online classes or online office hours and get to ask him questions about different things, and he's always just there to help anybody out. I mean, he's almost like a sort of servant leader, which is so powerful. So what's awesome is, so we got to meet, and we got to talk about Pat Flynn. We got to talk about the different things. Now, one thing by hanging out in the Slack community that I realized is that you've been working Pinterest angle a lot. So tell us a little bit about Pinterest. How did you get to 500 million? Was it 5 million?
5 million.
5 million traffic, people coming to your sites, to your blog sites and whatnot.
It was the Pinterest, but that initially, that's kind of funny, because when we started our very, 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 very first business, our very, very, very first website, we had already without kind of knowing the whole structure and how everything works, we already had in the first 2 or 3 weeks already 1,500 visitors on our page. And this is like, if you think about SEO, this is just not possible, because you have to optimize this whole stuff. And I was like, always this growth hacking thinking, and like, I want somehow a better path. I don't want to follow the traditional path. And this is also the mindset that basically got me into Pinterest, because after university, I got into an internship into digital marketing, which is actually also impossible in Germany, because Germany is like, if you didn't study something with economics or so, it's not real to get into marketing. But I was so passionate about marketing. I learned so much from Pat, and I just, when I had this interview, I was like, boom, this knowledge, to my future boss. And he was like, okay, dude, if you stay like motivated like this, then you're in. And of course I'm motivated as this. And then he took me. But I realized pretty fast that I learned a lot more from Pat than I learned from this job. And I looked for other jobs, and I saw they always do kind of like marketing agencies in Germany. But I don't know how they're in US, but in Germany, they all make the same mistakes. They don't think, they think like inside the box. And how they use social media, I didn't really like that. And because of course I had this picture of Pat, community, and so. And anyways, I thought about like, okay, I'm interested in social media. What types of social media platforms are out there?
Yeah.
And then I was like, there was one platform which was interesting. It was like visual marketing, and I showed it to my mom. It was some like, it's funny because many moms use Pinterest, yeah. And this is also the meaning of Pinterest, that so many moms or only moms are on Pinterest. And I was like, okay, then Pinterest, yeah, that was Pinterest. And I don't know, somehow it's something Pinterest has to it, because I don't know, I have to try it out, because like everyone is on Instagram, everyone is on Facebook, and so I wanted to try out something else. And then I got onto it, I tried it out, and when I started even researching it and trying it out on my own, it blew my mind, because I saw people like getting tons of traffic to their website, like literally 500,000 monthly visitors on their blog. And so monthly, like, and they invested maybe a year or so into it. Like, imagine how much time you would invest if you use SEO for that. Like, see, Pat gets 500,000 monthly visitors, he said, to his blog, and he's now he has now YouTube, he has Instagram, he has his podcast, he has his SEO optimized blog, and he's 10 years into this. And then I discovered these people who managed the same results after 1 year and one blog, and I was like, there has to be something.
There has to be something about it.
And this is basically how I got into it. I started testing it, and I was like, I was really geeking out a bit about it, because I really loved Instagram, and I had good results with Instagram, because I'm also a photographer, and so I'm very visually BS, and I really like this visual content and art content and stuff like that. So I just couldn't not like Pinterest.
No, that's really awesome. Pinterest. So there's very specific thing that's different about Pinterest that the other platforms kind of get it, but they don't really get it. And I was doing some research on Pinterest, when we had our first conversation, and I was looking, okay, when did Pinterest come out? It was like 2009. Facebook came out a lot or before Pinterest. Instagram was around the same time. But the target audience for each of these platforms was very, very different. Initially, 80% of female women were using Pinterest because it's like a board and you're putting pins. And this is what you told me, you create boards and you put pins on each of the boards and you specify what this board is going to be about. It's almost like a vision board. And I've never designed vision boards, so it's something
you should try.
Right, I should try it. So tell us a little bit more. What are some of the things that people can do to start using Pinterest to drive traffic to their platforms? You mentioned that one of the reasons that Pat is getting a ton of traffic is because he has many different sources to bring traffic. And so I've been in the internet marketing. I've been watching the internet marketing movie for the past 20 years, right? I I haven't been participating in it. There's there's SEO, there's backlinking, there's a ton of different terminology that they use. And blogging was really powerful because Google was initially intended to be a search engine for library books. And when you have a search engine for library books, well, you're going to bring in, anytime you search a term, it's going to see, okay, how many times is this term mentioned in any book? It's going to give you the right book that you're looking for. So when you're creating blog content and when you're creating content for your blog and you're being very specific, and that's where the keyword comes from, right? When you're being very specific, people are coming to your content. The reason I am backtracking in this is because they used to say content is king. Everybody say, you got to have content, you got to have content. Now we're creating many different forms of content. We have copy, we have blogs, we have photos. Photos were not really easily trackable because, we don't have that kind of AI yet. But with photos, they started introducing hashtags and they started introducing content piece that you can attach to, and that's what Instagram was doing. So what can you tell us about what can somebody do right now to start utilizing the power of Pinterest?
Register on Pinterest, actually.
Get on Pinterest.
Just get on Pinterest and test it out on your own, how you use it. Because when we first, back in those days, like when it just started to use Pinterest, we actually use it as vision boards. Like I was into the CGI and 3D art space. I learned a lot of drawing, and if you learn drawing, you have to create a knowledge base, let's say a knowledge base, where a knowledge of vision base for where you can pick something. Like basically you look the whole time at it, and then you can draw it from your mind, but you have to get the creative juices flowing. And this is how we use it. I saved a lot of art and expanded my visual library in my mind, let's say. And this is also how people use Pinterest. So when let's say you're in the yoga niche, right?
Yeah.
People will need inspiration first, and then they will need workouts. So they go on Pinterest, and it's like YouTube or SEO. They look for yoga workouts after work. They look for yoga workouts in the morning. They look for yoga workouts to calm down and stuff like that. So this is again the search intent, which is also on YouTube and Google. So basically, if you understand YouTube and Google, you will be the king on Pinterest, because Pinterest is most likely an easier version of all that, because there is almost not, like, there is competition, of course. There are 300 million people on it and growing, but they still don't really know how to use it. And most people on Pinterest are not marketers or entrepreneurs, but people who need inspiration and workouts or food or something to find. So it's the search intent. And so you basically have to understand SEO, kind of, because you optimize your boards on SEO, you optimize your pins on SEO, you optimize your profile on SEO. And the second thing is that you have to understand that it doesn't work like Instagram. So on Instagram, you have a post and you have a caption and you have your hashtags and you pump them out. And then, okay, most people hope that something happens, of course. But of course, you have to go out and engage so that people see if you're in the beginning. But this is something that you don't really have to do on Pinterest. But if you do it, this is, of course, better, because nobody engages on Pinterest, because you don't need to engage, because you have SEO optimized content, which will be found. Of course, engaging is like the secret sauce a bit, maybe, because nobody on Pinterest engages. And if you engage, people will see you, you know?
Yeah.
So this is like building backlinks, and this is a long-term game.
No,
Yeah, but basically you have to just focus on SEO and build boards, join group boards, because people have their own boards or group boards.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and
There's even group boards.
yes, and do you know why this is so mind-blowing?
No.
Now, imagine you join a group board when you just create an account. And this group board has already, let's say, 1,000 or 5,000 followers. And let's say 10 people who post to this board, including you.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically get access to those 5,000 followers with an account which you just started. So imagine this potential. Like, you get access to a reach of 5,000 people, and you can join. Yes, immediately. And you can join many group boards. So you can have up to 250 boards, I think, on Pinterest or so.
Wow.
So, and this is a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. I bet. Yeah. There's even people on, I was looking on social media marketing stuff on Fiverr, and there's people that'll just focus on your Pinterest. I think the other big thing that you mentioned was backlinking, right?
Yeah.
And what I mentioned earlier, content is king. And then I asked people, who do you think is the queen of the internet?
That's a good question. But
do you know the answer?
I think I heard it, but I would like to hear it a second time.
So the queen of the internet marketing is links. Because sure, you have a ton of content. You have a ton of content on your page. And if it's not linked to anything at all, well, you can't find it. So you got to link it. And I think that's a big game that Pinterest is playing. They're like, we're going to enable you to link every single pin to wherever you want it to point to.
Yep.
Instagram is like, no, you can only have one link. And if you get to 10,000 plus followers on your Instagram, you can add a link to your stories, okay? Or you can pay for it. So I think that's a really good game that Pinterest has been playing, and they've been around just the same time as Instagram has. Instagram just got big so fast because it was very focused on what they wanted to offer. They wanted to create a space for people to put curated photographs that they took on their Instagram profiles. I mean, game has changed since then. Now it's owned by Facebook. There's a ton of stuff happening, but I think Pinterest is keeping that truth. And it's interesting to see that Pinterest is still at 300 million users, or 330 million. And so the organic reach is really high. Right now, a lot of people, even Gary Vaynerchuk mentioned this in 2018 or 2019. And this is like 6 months after his book came out, Crushing It. He didn't mention much about LinkedIn, but he started talking about LinkedIn because there's about 500, 600 million people on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So the organic reach is really high on that. Compare that with Facebook with 2.5 billion people. They have to tweak those algorithms so you don't see everything all the time, right? Yep. You only have a reach of 1 to 5 to 10% of people that are your friends that will be able to see what content you're posting. So that's a really great place to get started. So what are your recommendations that somebody would do? So you go in there, you create your account, you find your niche that you're going to be posting your content around, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of the other things that people should be doing to maximize?
Well, first, first, if you think about social media in general, you have to think about what platform is good for you, because Pinterest is very good, and if you have a niche that fits Pinterest, it's very good. But at first I would check out if you have a fitting niche. It's like 90% sure that you have a fitting niche for Pinterest, but still go to the categories page which Pinterest has, and look if your niche is good for Pinterest. And if it's good for Pinterest, dive deep into Pinterest, because this is the best investment that you can do. And you will learn that you basically, really, you just have to optimize SEO, optimize your pins, because if you just think about it, Instagram provides only one link because they don't want people to go off their platform. And Pinterest does the same thing as Google does. They want people to find stuff that they love. So they basically really send people to pages. That is why every pin provides a backlink. And you can really have like 100 followers or so. I recently, 1 week or so ago, I saw a person who was testing Pinterest, if she's like, just for fun, if she's still good with Pinterest, because she also started with Pinterest like 3 years ago or so, and started a new account. And she had 600 followers and 600,000 monthly clicks on her Pinterest profile, monthly viewers. Yeah, and she made it like in, I think 2, 3, 4 months or so. So, and the thing is, if you have your pins and your boards SEO optimized, you get more views than only from your followers. So it spreads throughout the whole Pinterest. Yeah,
that's really interesting. So when you keep, I think you keep mentioning SEO optimized, and that's a pretty standard term, especially when you're looking at marketing. You want to make sure that your keywords and your content is in line with the niche that you're talking about. So that's what SEO optimized means. And it's really good to see that there are still platforms in this year 2020 that people can jump in now and start utilizing its traffic building methodology. You know, one thing that really annoyed me about Pinterest is anytime I would go on Google and search for specific images, it would bring back Pinterest links. And there's a lot of follow through. Like, okay, you click on here, you get to the board, and they want you to install the app, and then you install the app, and you're like, okay, where was I? Then you go back to the search. So there's a lot of like referral links. Like, okay, how does this really work? So I had to like figure it out. I'm like, okay, it's taking me to an actual website where then I can find out more about that pin that somebody shared, because they have a ton of inspirational images. Like, I'm looking to build a desk, I'm looking to build a cabinet, I need some ideas, how can I do wood joinery? So I'm looking at all this stuff. Like, okay, how do I get to the actual source of this? So what I started doing is I started searching for content or images, and then adding minus Pinterest.com, because it just drove me insane. I was like, I just want to stay on Google and search for these things and go back. But now that I understand how Pinterest works, thanks to you, Zhenya, I think I'm gonna understand a little better and go a little bit deeper. And like you said, it's a different platform. It's not like other platform. Like, for example, if you search for videos on Google, it'll take you to a YouTube video. Or if there's a video on Dailymotion, other video sites. But I think this is a really eye-opening experience for me, at least, how I can use it to market my podcast. Because all I'm doing is teaching people how to get better at one thing or another in internet marketing. I'm talking to, writers, authors, producers, actors, directors. It's very broad, but I'm always looking to, okay, how do you get from point A to point B? And by using different tools that are available to us in this year, 2020.
Actually, podcasts are very popular right now. From what I saw the last few months, literally the term podcast got very popular since COVID-19 on Pinterest. So perfect timing.
Perfect timing. That's right. And what's funny is that podcasting has been around since 2005, I think.
Whoa.
I know it might be later than that. I can't remember, but it started as something, and I know Pat Flynn jumped in around 2010, and he's had his podcast for about 10 years. And till 2017, there were still about 600,000 podcasts.
Yeah, there are still 900,000 or so. I just recently saw statistics. That's so crazy.
Yeah. So just in 2018, there was 200,000 new podcasts. 2019, still climbing, and now we're close to a million. And
not even a million still.
Not even a million still, yeah. So what's funny is that it's so easy to start a podcast.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do any of that. The key is to be consistent in creating content. You got to create that.
Oh yes, that's true. I just remember when I was like, okay, podcast sounds so interesting and it sounds really easy to start. And I was like, okay, I'm testing around a lot, and I was like, I just have to test it. And I was like already having 3 episodes uploaded, and I was like, this is day 1. How easy is podcasting actually?
Yeah.
So consistency is key, but starting a podcast is like nothing to do. Like you can do it in a few hours.
Absolutely. In fact, Anchor.fm has an amazing way to get you started to be a podcast. You just download an app, just like you download Instagram or YouTube or TikTok. You can start creating content right from your smartphone. It's that easy. Anchor.fm, really powerful app. And that's the platform that I've been using since day one on creating my podcast. Sure, there are other platforms like Podbean and Libsyn, a lot of people talk about, but Anchor.fm is free. Just like Instagram, you don't pay to be on Instagram or on Facebook or on YouTube. Sure, there's ads on there, but Anchor FM has taken that same model. I almost want to say that Anchor is trying to be the YouTube for podcasting.
That's cool.
And just last year, Anchor got picked up for $500,000. $500,000 by Spotify. So now Anchor is owned by Spotify.
Aha. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
That's
in fact, Joe Rogan, who has one of the hugest following as a podcaster, he does 2-hour episodes with Elon Musk and, really big folks like that. Yeah, and you've probably seen that photo of, Elon smoking.
Yeah.
So Joe Rogan recently signed up with Spotify.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Right. So Spotify is really pushing hard and getting in the space of Spotify of podcasting. So that's just really awesome, and it gives people a lot more options on what they can do and how they can get information.
That's interesting, because I was actually, when I was looking, Anchor was the first podcast host which got me interested, because they have a good design and everything, how they have structured it. I liked it, but literally everybody said don't use Anchor, and I was like, but I don't know. I resonate with Anchor. I like it, and I would love to try it out. But this is kind of very motivating what you say, even this with Spotify, because I was like hesitating a bit, but still wanting to try it out. And now you say that it's good, and Spotify wouldn't buy something
that's going downhill, right? They want to, create an anchor in the space of podcasting. Put on words. So play on words there with Anchor.fm is an awesome platform. So what's really cool about, I've been talking to a lot of people that are trying to get on podcasts, and everybody's like, oh, Libsyn. So I was like, all right, let me get the record straight. Let me do some research on all of these different platforms and what are you able to do. So the reason people are always talking about Libsyn or Podbean is, number one, you get to pay to be on their platform. You have to pay. So Libsyn is one of the most, it's been around the longest. They haven't updated the UI in the past 15 years, right? So as long as they've been around, they haven't updated their UI. Sure, there's a lot of power in what they can do. they give you a little site, but Anchor does all of that too. I can schedule 10 episodes on my podcast ahead of time. I can set the schedule date. I can drop the artwork. I can drop in all that description text, and I just set it on autopilot. Just like that, you can do it on YouTube. You can schedule stuff ahead of time. You can do the same thing on Facebook and Instagram. You can schedule all of this stuff to go out ahead of time. So that makes life a lot easier. But a lot of times when people tell you don't go with Anchor, you should ask them why. And then they'll probably give you the reason around what they think. So one of the things that I like about Anchor is that they will go out and create your syndication on other platforms. For example, they'll set up your podcast on Apple. They'll set up your podcast on Google Podcasts, on Stitcher, on all of these. There's at least 10 or 12 different platforms that they'll automatically set up your podcast as soon as you launch an episode. Whereas if you go with Podbean or if you go with Libsyn, you have to do all of that stuff manually yourself.
Whoa.
So
crazy.
That automation, that specific part of it is what keeps me here on Anchor.fm. All right, man. We've been talking about using Pinterest with interest
yeah.
to create marketing and bring traffic to your site, to your blog, to your YouTube. And I think that's what you're doing right now. Am I right?
Also, yeah, to YouTube.
So you can bring traffic to wherever you want. And you don't have to engage as much as you do on Instagram or
you don't
even
have to engage at all.
At all. You just post it and you're like, hey guys, go check this out. And boom. It sounds very sexy, man.
It is. Really, it is. But somehow I still wonder why people don't use it. That is why Vlada and I want to spread that, because people need to use it.
Yeah.
And I should potentially say, like, this is our little secret and will stay with us. But why?
Why? No point.
Yeah.
You should be doing a masterclass on using Pinterest for marketing.
Yeah,
Boom.
we think about it.
It's not that hard, man. And then that masterclass can then become into a course that people can take. And I'm sure we have a course. All right,
we have
perfect.
A course.
Perfect. We'll plug in the course in the episode, in the show notes, so then people can go check your course out and learn more about how to use Pinterest for marketing.
It's not only about using Pinterest. It's like the course is not for fun, called Pinterest Viral Domination.
Nice.
It's a lot more than that.
I like the name of it, man. So yeah, we'll drop in the link to the course that Zhenya and Vlad, is it you and Vlad? Or?
Yeah.
Vlada. Okay. You guys created, and I'll be happy to check it out myself, take some pointers and what's his name? Dr. Evil from
yeah.
What was that movie? I can't remember. Goldmember with Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Right. Dr. Evil tried to take over the world. Yeah. Vlad, okay, this has been a lot of fun talking to you again. We had so much good, we got to dig in a little bit deeper on Pinterest, to learn more about you and what inspired you to take on the entrepreneurship, because you don't want to work for somebody else. You want to make your own hours.
Yeah, and I actually also want to help people, because I hadn't the chance in my 9 to 5 to help people, because it was all about make sales and get money. And I was like, yes. Dude, really?
You're helping a company as opposed to a person. Yeah. So in the user experience terminology, we use personas when we were creating.
Yeah.
When you're creating a design, because you want to. Yeah, so we want to, and with marketing, the same thing. You create a persona, like we're creating this product for this specific person. Mm-hmm. Wow. But when you're working for a company, there's no persona around a company. Like, okay, who do you lean towards, So that's awesome. All right, man. At this point, I'd like to ask some good questions, some funny questions that our guests and get to answer. What is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Still definitely Shaolin Kung Fu.
So we're going to have a Kung Fu artist right here in Zhenya, probably in the next 3-4 years once his automation system starts, he's going to go learn some Shaolin Kung Fu and play some Shaolin soccer, Remember that movie?
Yeah.
It was so good. I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. All right. Next question. What did you want to be when you were a child?
Really, I had time to think about it, and it was still martial artist, because this is the single dream that I ever had. It was being like a kung fu art master.
So I've grown up watching Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They are and Jet Li, and there's some other folks.
Donnie Yen.
So Don Yang is probably newer. I'm much older, so I've grown up watching Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and these guys.
Watched them too.
Yeah, so those are like I'm old school, right? I'm in my 40s, so I grew up watching these guys, and every time I watch Jackie Chan movies, like anytime I know there's a Jackie Chan movie out, I need to see it because he is so good and he's so funny. And there's actually a scene where Jackie Chan got to fight. He was in the crowd fighting Bruce Lee, and he's like, that was my best moment. And one of the really great things that I love about Jackie Chan is that he will not shy from trying and failing over and over. Like there's stories of him doing the same scene over 100 times, 140 times, till he gets that choreography perfect. And I think that's something that we all, as human beings, as entrepreneurs, fail to do. We fail to fail. We're like, I don't want to try because I'm going to fail. So we fail already. Yeah. So try 100 different times. And if you don't make it through, then you know that, you can try one more time. And that's why we have light bulbs, because Thomas Alva Edison didn't give up. He's like, that's 10,000 different ways that I know things not going to work. So I'm going to keep trying and figure this out. So you got to keep trying. You got to keep pushing through and getting through that wall. So Zhenya, I believe in you. You will be a Kung Fu artist.
Thank you.
All right. And we're going to hear a lot more about Kung Fu, because the next question is, what is your favorite movie or TV show?
Absolutely still Ip Man. But the whole series.
The whole series of it, man. Yeah, that's awesome stuff. All right, cool. And the next question is, we already know the answer, but I don't know if you know. What movie would you choose if you were to play a character in it?
And, that's actually, it depends on the story of the character, because I thought like I would choose Ip Man, but then I thought like, okay, he has a very depressing story, kind of, because he was like, with this whole story with fascism and Hong Kong and stuff like that, this is kind of hard. But like, if I could be a Kung Fu master, I would still choose him, or Jet Li in the movie Tai Chi.
Oh yeah,
because I actually practiced Tai Chi myself, so it would be
nice.
Really
that would be perfect. That would be in line. You don't need much practice at all. That's awesome. So that question actually came to me when I was watching. I was reading the book Ready Player One, and then they came out with the movie Ready Player One, and in the book you have to play the character of Matthew Broderick, and in the movie War Games. So you had to know all of the lines from that dialogue to be able to play that character. So in the movie, they changed it up, and instead of using war games in Matthew Broderick's character, they instead used The Shining, where you have the two twins.
Yeah. Oh, that was crazy. Yeah.
It was really nicely done. So that's where the question comes from, that if any of us had the chance to pick a movie to be a character in it, what would it be? And Zhenya said he would be a kung fu master in the movie Tai Chi, playing Jet Li. All right. Next question is, who is your favorite superhero?
I think still Superman. Because, no, not Superman, Spider-Man, sorry.
Spider-Man.
Because this style of flying, it's just cool.
It is absolutely
it's so cool.
Remarkable. It's very well done. And still to this day, when they introduced Tom Holland in was it Civil War? When they introduced the new Spider-Man coming in, he was introduced by Iron Man, and it was really cool. And then the first Iron Man, the first Marvel MCU version of the Spider-Man came out with Tom Holland. That was very well done. But I still go back to my favorite Matthew Broderick. No. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from 2000. Is it 2001 or 2002?
It's also my favorite.
It's one of the best ones.
It's so good.
The score is so good. The storyline, and it's just really well done.
Your headphones
I know, my son just jumped in. All right, this is the last question. If you were a board game, what would it be?
I think Risk still.
Risk is an awesome game. We used to play it a long time ago, but I would love to,
How do you play?
love to play that again. We don't have the board game anymore, but maybe that's something. Maybe something to get for this pandemic. Say hi to my son. This is Zhenya. We're talking about Pinterest. We're talking about Kung Fu and Tai Chi and so many cool things, man. It's been awesome. So Zhenya, where can my audience find you? I believe you are on Pinterest.
Of course,
YouTube.
We are on Pinterest under House of Creators, and we are on YouTube. Also, if you type in House of Creators, you'll see Vlada and Zhenya House of Creators.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
From there, we have everywhere backlinks.
You're on YouTube right now. You're on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
We are broadcasting this live to YouTube. So if anybody is watching this on on a replay, give it a shout out.
You only have 52 subscribers.
Reach out to Zhenya and learn more about him. We'll have the course link on the bottom where you can learn more about what to do with Pinterest and go crazy.
Yeah. Go crazy
viral.
With traffic.
Yes. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time. This was really awesome talking with you. Till the next one.
Till the next one.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the episode. Thanks so much for listening to our guest on this episode. Please send me an email at junaid@hacksandhobbies.com to tell me what you loved about our guest today. You could find links mentioned in this episode on the hacksandhobbies.com website.